GSL.
What's up, guys? Welcome to the GSL Code S. I'm Tasis, with me as Artosis, and we're going on now to Group C in the round of 16.
Vitamin C, more like Group C, tasteless.
We've already had a fantastic round of 16 so far. Our groups were a little bit out of order because we started out with Group A, right? Like we were supposed to, but then we went to Group D. That was a good reference, by the way, to the Group D cast. We said we're talking about getting vitamin D outside because it's nice and sunny in Seoul. And then you were like, vitamin D, more like Group D. Well, we're off to a great start, Artosis.
We're deep enough in the tournament that every group represents a vitamin. So I can basically do this forever.
Yes. And next
Group
week,
B, more like B vitamins.
B12 vitamins.
Group A, more like amino acids, tasteless. The essential ones.
By the way, go ahead and download the GOM EXP app and participate in our predictions contest.
Yeah, as you saw, maybe right before the show started, we had a little frame up there that shows that you can win, like if you have the most right predictions, the least right predictions, and just for entering it all, I could actually win that 3 times.
You should probably run a scam like this, Artosis. I mean, this is the way to do it. Is
like,
if you actually
get the most right and the most wrong.
He casts every game.
Yeah, just
he's
always
right
there.
all the time and wrong all the time. So, I think today is going to be a fantastic day. In case you're wondering why our groups are out of order, or still are out of order, is because we've moved the schedule around due to some overseas events to make sure all the players still had time to play.
That's right. And, well, Group C would have been here, I guess, no matter what.
Sure.
So this one wasn't moved.
But Group B in 2 days now.
That's right. Can't wait to make that B vitamin joke. That's coming, guys. Make sure you tune in on Friday.
Get ready.
But yeah, this is going to be a fantastic
group. Vitamin punch card joke.
This is one of those like groups of death as well, I believe.
Yes.
Because one group had Maru in life, and that was definitely a group of death. But this one is too. This is like the second best Zerg in the world, and the best Protoss in the world, and a top 3 Terran, and then also Curious, who's going back to Code A.
It'd be cool if Curious got farther along here, but it's a tall order. Here's what the brackets look like so far for the round of 8. As you can see, Maru over here in round of 8, day 1. On the other side of that in the brackets is Rogue. Down on the next day for the round of 8, it's going to be Myunchik and Party. So there is a possibility that it could be a Maru versus Party finals.
That is pretty crazy, man. And of course, CJ herO is in this group, so if he gets out in first place, we could have him, going up against Maru in the round of 4, possibly. I think a Maru CJ herO finals is fantastic as well if he gets second place here. So a lot of great, exciting stuff.
Yeah, if you did miss, I should say, last season, the games are absolutely fantastic. One of the best finals we've ever had, easily. And with all the Koreans being back here in Korea, I think this finals could be just as good.
Yeah, we definitely have a lot of potential in it so far.
저 무조건 테란이랑 하려고 생각해요.
조준혁 선수는
스타리그 보더니 원래 이렇게 잘하는지 몰랐다고. 그때 살짝 꼬리를 내리더라고요. 중혁이는 마음에 사라졌어. 지금 생각해보니까 이삭이 형이 1등이고 준호 형이 2등인 것 같아요. 점수는 역시 이삭이 형이죠. 완벽한 도발이었어. 이것만은 건드렸으면 안 됐던 것 같아요.
후배조 냄새가 바로 나네요.
너무 마음에 들어요. 편한 상대 뽑고 싶고 그냥 같이 올라가고 싶어요.
아마 저를 뽑을 것 같아요. 핫한 선수들만 모이고 있기 때문에
중요해줘.
다시 군대를 그냥 가야 되나라는 생각. 일단 좀 생각을 좀 해볼게요.
승현 선수가 우승자 그 지명권 있잖아요. 정치가 나올 수 있죠.
게임으로 치면은 승현이가 형이죠. 한 번만 도와주세요, 승현이 형.
C조 지금 표정 굉장히 안 좋습니다.
이영표 선수가 왠지 최지성은 안 뽑을 것 같아요.
고를 수 있다면 D조가 좋아요? C조가 좋아요?
B조에서 뽑을 줄 알았는데 괴물인 데는 다 이유가 있는 것 같아요. 그냥 포기했어요.
이영표
갑니다. 최지성!
2015년에 이제 가장 떠오르고 있는 각 종족의 대표 주자가 다 모였습니다.
CJN2's herO, SK텔레콤 T1 Dream, SBENU GSL, CJN2's 별.
안녕하세요, 문규리입니다.
Now on to an
자,
interview with
오늘
our
정말 많은
players to see what their
분들께서
thoughts are
참가가
before this match gets started. Anything they want to say to each other and anything they want to say to their fans that are watching. So a lot of people were waiting to see this group. A lot of fans who participated in some major tournaments recently are here today.
큰 스케줄을 소화하고 있는 1경기의 주인공 김준호 선수와 조중혁 선수 먼저 만나보겠습니다.
Let's meet the first two players who are going to play their first match, herO and Dream. Hello. So you've had a very busy schedule this week.
오늘은 괜찮아요.
네, 역시 밝은 모습 보기가 좋습니다.
It says it's okay, my
자,
chemistry today
이번에
is still
미남
good.
1위, 또 인성 1위로 뽑히고 기분 좋은 조지명식을 했는데 오늘 인성 없는
You were voted as the most handsome player in the group
기대하지
selection.
못한 그런 멋진 경기력
And the
기대하고
nicest
있습니다.
player.
자신 있으세요?
Anything to say?
레더를 통해서 자신감 너무 많이 찾은 상태여서 자신감은 확실히
I
있고
gained a lot of confidence through my ladder
처음에
games.
이사기가 생각난다 했는데 이제 오늘 이후로
Partying is still the
제가
best at playing with his stalkers,
만들어주려고.
but
네,
after today,
바로
he's going to be
자기가
thinking of me as
떠오르게
back as the best at
점수하면
playing stalkers.
김준호 이렇게 떠오르게 보여주고 싶다고 하셨습니다. 어떠세요, 들으니까?
네, 그냥
How do you feel about that comment, Dream?
같아요?
네, 모르겠어요. 해봐야 될 것 같아요.
자, 요즘 정말
I don't know. I
조준혁
guess let the
선수
play get some to find out.
굉장히 상승세를 그리고 있기 때문에 자신감이 있을 것 같은데요.
Dream is doing really well in recent tournaments, both in individual and in Pro League.
타격이 있을 것 같은데 어떠세요?
But
저는
you
오히려
played yesterday in Pro League.
그냥 몰아서
Aren't you
하고 쉬는
exhausted?
게 편하기 때문에 스케줄은 마음에 들고 그냥 세 개 다 이기려고 생각하고 있어요.
Actually, I prefer to get all my matches out of the way in 1 week and then I get to rest, so I'm happy with this.
김준호 선수도 어제 경기 직후라서 많이 피곤하실 것 같아요.
herO
어떠세요?
also played yesterday in Pro League. How do you feel?
준혁이랑 똑같고 준혁이가
I feel the same way as Dream, actually.
오히려 저한테 좋은 것 같아요.
Dream's been winning every match he plays.
기세가 좋고
But I
잘하는
think
선수
that
이기면 기쁨이 두 배가 돼서
That also goes well for me because
오늘
it
더
makes me
재밌을
happy
것
to
같아요.
defeat a very strong player who's on a streak.
조준혁 선수의 센스 넘치는 도발이 바로 자극이 됐던 것 같은데 그런데 오늘 또 팀킬이 어쩌면 만들어질 수도 있거든요.
You also have to
두 분이
face a teammate today. How do you feel about that?
네, 사이는 좋았고
네.
서로 그냥 1, 2등으로 진출하자고.
Well, we're very good friends.
한지원
We
선수
both
정말
talked about
사이좋게
planning to
오셨어요?
just advance as first and second place in this group.
서로 승자전에서 만나기로 했나요?
네.
연습은 어떻게 하셨어요?
You already asked if they want to play in the winners match. He says yes.
평소에
How did you guys practice? Yes.
숙소에서 연습실에서 늘 하던 대로
The same as we normally do.
그럼 한지원 선수 오늘 이제 이거 하나
Says he didn't prepare anything
남았어요.
special today.
자, 오늘 어떤 각오로 오셨는지 좀 들어보고 싶네요.
저번에 스타리그
So,
때
what is your mindset going into today's
부담을
group and your
많이 갖고
determinations?
네.
좀 안 좋은 경기력이 나왔던
I
것
felt
같은데
a lot of pressure playing in the Star
오늘
League.
같은 경우는
That's why I was knocked out, actually.
네, 한지원 선수.
I'm going to try to play more common,
하지만 요즘
comfortably today.
전체적으로 보면 정말 잘하셨잖아요. 자신감 있으시죠?
네 오늘 무조건 올라갈 것 같아요.
네. 진짜 또 자신감을
Yo says, I'm definitely sure I'm going to advance
자,
from
이원표
this group here
선수와도
today.
이야기를
Now over here to
이원표
Curious.
선수 오늘 준비 잘하셨어요?
How did you prepare for today,
원래
Curious?
이거 하나밖에 없었던 사람이기 때문에
네.
좀 열심히
Well, I only have this individually to prepare for, so I spent a lot of my energy preparing for
잘하고
this.
있는 선수들이어서
Every player is very strong and is basically on a winning streak.
올라가보고 싶은 욕심은 있어요.
So I think I'm going to have to play the match of my life for today, and that's what I want to do.
아까 저랑 함께 또 고민하시기도 했는데 저그전 승률이 제가 여기서는 얘기를 안 하겠지만 아무튼
So your
그래요.
ZVZ record is not too hot these
한지원
days.
선수 잡을 계획을 좀 잘 세우셨는지.
Gertie says she's not even going to mention it in this interview.
오늘 이겨가지고
네.
좀 승률을 좀 끌어올려야 될 것 같아요.
Look, I just want to win today against Biel to at least increase my ZVZ win rate.
승자전에서 어떤 선수를 만나고 싶어 하는지 궁금하네요.
Which player would you ideally want to face off in the winners
테란
match
만나고
if you did
싶어요.
advance?
올라간다면?
Versus Terran?
테란전이 좀 그래도
Perhaps.
연습할 때 잘 되는 편이고
네.
토스는
I'm feeling more confident against Terran player these days,
조금 더 편합니다.
especially in
네,
practice, and I think Protoss players are OP, so I want to face off against
승률을
Terran.
기록하고 있는 이원표 선수인데, 자 이번에 이원표 선수 군대 못 보낸다 이렇게 나오고 있는 팬분들도 많거든요. 마지막으로 이원표 선수 각오 좀
So
들어볼까요?
you might possibly have to go to your compulsory military service if you get knocked out, Curious. Anything to say to that?
네, 이렇게.
Well, I'm gonna win
멋진
today and I'm
각오까지
not gonna go to the
말씀해
army.
주셨는데, 자 이번에 시즌을 행사한 김준호 선수도 각오 들어보겠습니다.
Final comments, starting with you, herO.
그래서 뜻하는 바는 못 이룬 것 같은데
The group selections, I wasn't able to make the best
지원이
group,
1, 2등으로 올라갈 수 있는 조인 것 같아서
네.
but
오늘 열심히
I do feel like
해서
Biel and
둘다
myself
올라가서
could probably advance first and second place.
하도록 하겠습니다.
네,
So
기대하고 있겠고요.
I'm hoping for my team and I to advance together out of this group, not just me.
각오
Now on to you,
들어볼게요.
Dream. Anything you want to say before we start?
지금 양대 리그가 저랑 준호 형만 있는 걸로 아는데 준호 형이 오늘 꼭 떨어졌으면 좋겠습니다.
herO and I are the two players.
네, 역시 자신감
that are in both the individual
선수였고요.
leagues.
그리고 한지원 선수 마지막으로
So I hope that herO
들어볼게요.
gets knocked out and I move on.
이명 선수가 꼭 떨어졌으면 좋겠어요.
오, 감사드리는
Biel says, I hope that Dream gets knocked out of this group.
제가 떨구겠습니다.
알겠습니다.
herO says, don't worry, I'm going to knock him out.
김준호 선수가 김준호 선수가 직접 하고 올라가신대요.
네?
김준호 선수가 직접 떨구고
So herO said, don't worry, I'm going to
올라가신다고.
take care of it myself.
그냥 김준호 선수만 생각하고 계시면 될 것 같은데요.
그래도 한번 해보고 싶어요. 권영영 선수랑.
그렇군요. 자, 오늘
Says, yeah, but I
이렇게
still do want to play against, chance to play
시조
against Dream today.
선수분들 모두 만나봤습니다. 오늘 경기 본격적으로 시작해 보겠습니다.
And that'll do it for our interviews. Anyways, a little bit more details here of our 4 players.
There you have it. It's kind of funny. If Curious wasn't even up there, I think the other 3 players wouldn't have noticed. He was like, they were not even paying attention to that poor guy.
I'm not entirely sure if you already knows. She didn't ask him what his determinations were. I guess we thought they kind of got that at the end there, but
I guess so. But it's definitely an excellent group. These 3 are completely on fire. Curious though, can't underestimate him. He has a really good day. He could make some waves.
he certainly could.
He could be like the moon and make some waves.
Feel like the moon and make some waves?
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
That is that gravitational pull that the moon has that does cause our waves.
It's called moon magic tastes. Thank you very much. Gravitational
the tides go in,
waves.
the tides go out.
What,
You can't
what
explain
does
that,
the moon use
Artosis.
for that, Tasis? Does it use a gravity gun? God. Shut
I got some news for you. It uses a gravity. So, Group C is getting close to starting. Welcome to the studio, everybody. Thank you for coming down. We saw that gentleman walking into the studio here today.
Yep.
Not our most packed day here today, but we've
not as
had
many people as you think,
some
but-
more hype groups.
Yeah.
Still good to see people down here enjoying some StarCraft II as we do now meet our halfway marker through the round of 16. herO, player number 1. This guy could actually win the entire GSL. He is very solid. He's been great in Korea, outside Korea. He seems to have one of the deepest understandings of Protoss, yet incredibly different from Party.
Yes.
Perhaps
Very,
polar
very
opposite
different
here.
player. Yeah, something like that. Like, you know, they're definitely very different Protosses. In fact, when I heard that Dream was like, well, actually, Parting's Blink Stalkers are better than yours, I thought about it, I'm like, okay,
Well, I think that's correct.
I never compare these two, but here's what I think. I think that Parting does have better micro than herO, but I think that herO tactically is just better. If that
Really?
makes-
I actually think after Group D, I think we'd have to say Parting had better Blink Stalkers.
Yeah, no, I'm saying his micro is better, I think. I think Parting's micro is better than herO's.
Oh,
but I
okay.
think that tactically, the way that herO uses them is superior.
I thought you were saying in regards to Blink Stalkers.
I'm saying just
only Blink
tactically.
Stalkers. Okay, I know, but that's
Yeah.
not what I'm saying is I thought just a sec back there, I thought you were just referring to the Blink Stalkers, which I would disagree with.
Yeah.
I think, correct, tactically, he definitely knows.
Strategically,
certain
he's the
cases.
best Protoss, I think.
Certainly.
Like, for regular, quote-unquote play.
Classic StarCraft play.
Yeah, something like that.
Over here we have Dream, a Terran player who's very good.
Oh, he's ridiculous.
Although we've had a lot of Terrans here, some of our newer viewers of the GSL might not be that familiar with him, you know, in comparison to some of these other Terran players we've had that are just powerhouses.
I would say he's second or best, or third best Terran in the world right now. I mean, Maru, you definitely got a name, and then Innovation is always floating up there. So, Dream, though, just absolutely ridiculously good. Such a strong Terran player. This should be a fantastic match.
I do think it's going to go to herO 2-1. What do you think?
Yeah, that's what I'm going with.
2-0 wouldn't surprise me either. If Dream wins, though, that's crazy.
Well, herO is just like, I mean, he is the best Protoss in the world, so you got to look at that and give him a little bit of a nod. But if this group is just crazy, man. This is a group of death as well.
Our map lineup is Deadwing, Expedition Lost, Bonnie Research Station.
Okay.
And then the winner there goes on to the winner's match, which is just one win out of a best of 3 away from moving on to the round of 8.
This first map, pretty important here, Tasteless. If Dream can take this, I think he'll take the series.
Do we know which player that gets out of this group first? Are they seeded against Nyunchik first? Is that correct?
No. The player who wins the group is against Rogue. Player that gets second place in the group is against Party.
Okay. Definitely a group you want to get out of first then. All right, our map is loaded up again. It is going to be on Deadwing, a PvT here. In the upper right, in the red, our Protoss player.
CJN2's herO.
Now, a lot of Protoss players. Now, hold up a second. I'm just going to say this right now. I think a lot of people that just watch GSL might be shocked to hear that we say that he's possibly #1. I'll get to that in a second, though. Over here in the bottom right,
SK Telecom T1 Dream.
a lot of people might be saying, isn't Party #1? Didn't he get second in the last GSL Code S? The problem is Party's almost like this weird exception to the rule. Some support for Dream here in the audience.
But yeah, it's like, I guess there's like arguments for parting, but I mean, I think that if you're like a true StarCraft analytic person that watches all games and stuff, you're just like, well, herO's the best Protoss. Parting, like, definitely, I think you have to pretty much just give him #2. Like, I think there's not many arguments against that, you know?
Well, he has had a lot of success all over the world.
Yeah, he's herO has as well.
Although,
but yeah.
you know, I guess you could almost say that Party and herO for a while, it's been a little bit of a back and forth with who's been on top.
Sure.
And there's been other Protosses in there as well, such as Rain.
Zest was for a little bit the best Protoss in the world. Rain definitely.
I think
Rain is still one of the best.
Can we
SOS.
just boil it down to the 4 best Protosses? Oh, no, let's make it 5 because you can easily throw SOS in there. SOS, Party, Rain, herO, and Zest. Is there really a better 5 that you can make up? I don't normally like throwing around these little ranks too heavily, but I think that's one of the moments that you can safely assert that.
I think that's pretty safe. I don't think too many people could argue that. I'm like trying to think if we're just randomly forgetting someone right now, but I don't think so. Like,
I don't.
There's a lot of
we are.
really strong Protosses, but those Protosses are like just so good. And there's other like really up and coming ones like Terminator and Myungshik that are really legit good. But those guys are like, damn, they could win like anything at any time. By the way, Stats is up there too, actually, Stats.
Probe Harass, already really good. In fact, this probe might be able to go in here and get a snipe on the SCV.
Yeah.
It's been one of the most micro-intensive probes harassing a command center building openings. Got to be careful here, too, because if you lose one of those SCVs, like the red one, then everything's delayed so much.
Yeah, and you might have to pull another SCV down to repair and stuff. You really don't want that to happen. But some really nice harassment. It's a very strong early scout. Like, he gets his Nexus up before his core and stuff. It's just, this worked out very well that herO scouted directly down and harassed so heavily. But yeah, man, definitely. I have to agree.
Totes McGoats.
With you on the Protoss assessment.
I think it's a safe assessment.
Yeah, pretty much.
Again, I always want to be a little bit careful with lists like that, but I think that's probably one of the better assertions you can make.
Yeah. Well, I think right now each race is really, you're starting to see who the absolute best are. Like, for instance, right now with Zerg, it's like, okay, so Life, Dark, Beal, you have to give a nod towards Rogue. Rogue is like consistently doing well in the leagues and stuff. But I mean, you know, the top guys are really starting to show themselves in StarCraft II, which is really great to see, because that's something we saw in StarCraft 1 as well. That's how you can really tell it's maturing, and that we don't have as much like rotation through the top.
Volatility, yeah.
Yeah, the top players are staying on top for a long time now.
It's also it's nice because we have all the, like, I would say about 95% of the Koreans back in Korea now, all competing. So now we can really continue to hold these lists up and keep comparing them back and forth as years pass onward. Oh my God, he actually got that before that finished. By the way, we have a Stargate warping in right out of range of the second base.
Yeah, really nice proxied Stargate there.
And
so
he's going to get an Oracle. Is there any merit? I forget which game we saw this in actually. It was last week we saw a Void Ray then proxied with this. Was that Parting? Did he do the weirdest placed Oracle? And then he went 3 Void Rays.
It was him or Myungshik?
No, it was Myungshik. I'm sorry, it was Myungshik.
Yeah, it was one of those two. But yeah, I mean, this is a really nice move because it's so close that turrets in general won't even be ready. Like, he's getting one that's like kind of like a DT turret at the natural.
Yeah, definitely a DT turret based off where it's placed.
Yeah.
The minerals are not covered
Or a
at least
D
most
turret, as I call it, to save time.
just to be a little bit more efficient. Okay, so already 4 kills here.
This is already a very worthwhile Oracle.
Yeah,
Look at this.
in
look at
fact,
this.
he can even come around here. Excuse me, I didn't see that Marine army there.
Poor
And
Micro.
he is getting a second Oracle with this. And he's teching the Colossus. So he may keep that one Oracle and try to poke around to the main, and then send that second Oracle over here and try to kill off some SCVs. If he can do it fast enough, he might get over into that second base again and kill off SCVs without there being any turret there.
Well, let's see what he can get done here. He's actually getting a Prism very, very quickly as well. That's kind of interesting. Only 3 Marines here, so he can actually just go ahead and get right in.
I'd almost say a bit of a misplay there by Dream.
I think he assumed it would be just one Oracle.
Yeah, you
Because
think just 'cause
the
it took enough
damage on those would have maybe held off a bit better, but yeah, the second Oracle actually getting some decent damage done there. Look at that, 10 SCVs already killed. That's a lot of SCVs. Look at that. Ooh,
I'm
looks
actually really interested by this Warp Prism.
like, I think he wants to do an all
for
in.
him to do. You know what? I think you might be right, but I guess if I'm confused in why he's making the Colossus back at home, because if he's going to fly the
Well,
Warp Prism over here into the main, then
think
isn't that a
it's-
little bit weirder? That he would. Do you think he'd Colossus poke in the front and make Zealots at the with the Warp Prism and drop that into the main then?
Well, I think he's so on top of things with the Oracles that he's saying, okay, the second you leave your base, I do a big warp in here, and that's like basically a game-winning move because he has Colossus at home. Because it's like when he
I
moves
see how
out with
you're
all those
seeing
units,
this.
it's just that's going to be such a powerful move, especially with 2 Oracles backing up. It's crazy.
Yeah, I suppose double Oracle flying into the main with Zealots being warped
Yeah.
in. I mean, how
Nothing that pops out will kill that.
Not
so he has to send
efficiently.
it home, and it's like follow up all in. What up?
What
You
I was
dead.
thinking initially was some kind of Colossus drop the main with Zealots warping in, but that would seem to be a bit wonky. I guess technically you maybe could do something like that and then attack the front with just a bunch of Tier 1 units.
that exists.
I suppose there's a lot of ways you can do this, which is also why this strategy is a little bit more flexible.
Sure.
It's also just recently popular.
Quite the case.
Just proxied Stargates and warping in a bunch of stuff.
Notice he is starting to warp things, and he's saying, well, if you're not going to leave your base, man, I don't know, I guess I got to come kill you eventually.
Okay, so he sees these the medevacs coming out here.
That's right. We'll see what he ends up doing here.
Wow,
Couple
nice
pounds on
scan.
the high ground.
Basically sees everything.
Yeah, he does have Thermal Lance. Only 1 Colossus with the army that's there right now. More on the way, though.
By the way, it's all Marines for now, so that Thermal Lance can be very handy with the splash damage.
Oh, yeah.
And if he just kills off this one turret, you know, he could even push up into the front with the Oracles.
Yeah, totally. Those deal a lot of damage really quickly. You got to be careful to be targeted down very quickly as well. But with 2 Colossus with Thermal Lance, man, it doesn't even matter. Like, these Marines are going to die so fast.
Okay, now for the force fields. Very nice force fields. That's going to be a lot of hits there on those SCVs. SCVs pulling out now. Shouldn't have a ton more force fields left, but possibly enough to claim complete dominion over this bottom base down here, the Terran's natural base.
This is like so much damage.
In fact, where is that Warp Prism now?
The Prism is still just floating there. It looks like he's finally going to float it in.
One hallucinated Colossus over here in the front.
Oh man, this is never ever going to work. Oh man, this is like, he's so wrecked I can't even say something memey about it.
No, it's... Oh, wow. And now he's just going to micro in and out. That's going to be it. That's going to be game number 1 here. GG! herO easily crushes through game 1.
He just extincted that nerd. That was like, he just destroyed him there. Really good proxy oracle. Really great scouting probe, by the way.
He didn't even just extinction that nerd. He went back in time and stopped that nerd from ever existing Nerdosis. That was actually time cop. He went time cop on that nerd. Well, in truth, though, Dream's actually not out of this yet. Still got 2 more games, possibly come back.
I'm trying to imagine, like, what way could he go back in time and, like, prevent Dream from doing... It's like,
he does it the butter. He has to
Dream,
stop,
like,
step on a
opens his
butterfly.
eyes, he wakes up, and he looks up, and an older version of herO is actually Dream's father and tells him he can't go to GSL today to play against herO.
It's like reverse Terminator. It's like the father has to go back in time to stop the son.
All right. Well, herO really showing some peak form there. Of course, again, the early scout probe, giving that much intel, slowing his opponent down a little bit, allowing his build order to go off so well, right into a proxy oracle, like, really helped him out there. But it was super well executed, just superb play here by herO.
Game number 2 is going to be on Expedition Lost. I am not feeling good for Dream going into this match just because of how well that went for herO. Also, you got to really appreciate the fact that herO didn't even use the Warp Prism to go into the main. He said, no, I can definitely take this on the low ground and win this fight. No need to make it too fancy. Sometimes that's just the better way to play.
Sometimes indeed. Now our next map is starting up tasteless. We'll see, can Dream do something to try to bring this back?
Better jump, bitch.
In the upper right, in the red, our Protoss player, he is
CJN2's herO.
And in the bottom left, in the blue,
SK Telecom T1 Dream.
By the way, guys, let everyone know GSL Code S is on. This is such a ridiculously good group.
it really is. And as you said, it's only going to get better and better as this season continues forward.
Oh yeah, it's the round of 8 is already looking insane. Very excited to see what that full round of 8 bracket is going to look like. You know, herO, I feel like he kind of needs to win the group because the only person I'm afraid for him to play against is Parting. I feel completely fine putting my money on herO against basically anyone except Parting.
Parting
or SOS, of course.
Well, SOS is definitely tough to beat if you have several matches to prepare for, because SOS is probably the craziest of all the Protosses.
Oh yeah.
Specifically just in builds.
He's
although Parting tested that in the GSL finals last season because he really did show a solid prep against the best, you know, Life, the best player in the world, essentially, in a best of 7. But SOS has just pulled out some of the craziest builds we've seen. So far, this build for both players looks pretty similar. Yeah, it can't get more similar than this, even down to the minutia that you'd have with this. The probe driving back that one SCV.
Yeah, a little bit of mismicro there for a moment. Doesn't really matter though. You know, he's doing a little bit of light harassment. Quite sure that he will be getting his Nexus ASAP. And he just wants to kind of poke in and see, are you going multiple barracks or are you going to be going for gas? It's kind of the only other important thing that he can scout here.
Yeah, once you have that information, then you can really begin to map out the possible builds, the possible algorithms that Dream can follow.
Yeah.
And how to properly counter that.
All the different logarithms that could be there, the sine curves, and the...
I'm like, no, not that at all, actually.
The functions of X and of Y.
Or of Z in this case.
Could be.
He might go for the Z build, the third command center really quickly after this. Oh my gosh, I can't believe that happened.
Or the other Z build where you make a lot of Zealots. Hold that Z button right down.
That one's actually under C. That's the one we don't even talk about.
Well, losing that probe is not actually that big a deal, but yeah, he got a little bit greedy there. It's like, oh, maybe I can kill this. It's like, well, no, Dream is a little bit better than that.
I am curious to see what build herO goes for. Under these, you know, given circumstances, and him dominating so hard there.
Well, I would say here he has to either go really quick Blink or quite a quick Colossus.
Okay.
I think it really needs to be one of those, so we shall see. He's going to have to choose it really soon, too, as soon as he gets 100 gas. So.
The expansions are both now up and running. No real definitive direction that herO's going to take this game just yet, though. Post-fast expansion, at least.
We'll be seeing, and there it is, the quick Twilight coming down. So since he knows there's multiple barracks, he's got to be a little bit careful about that because sometimes you will see Terran do a very strong push with quite a few bio units early on. So he may want to go ahead and add gateways before his robotics, make sure he has enough units. Sometimes we see people try to get a little bit greedy around there, and that's, well, there's the robotics. So we'll see, though. I mean, Dream won't necessarily do some big dedicated push as well. You know, it's if your opponent has a bunch of units, you can really get screwed by that without stim.
So we see combat shield starting there. And this should actually be a pretty passive game for the early part.
Yeah, it does look like that. Yeah, these guys just going to macro up a little bit. I'd love to see a macro game out of these two, see how they fare. Because that last one was just kind of like herO getting an edge and never letting it go.
I thought Dream was going to have a better chance if herO did something pretty crazy to start. Maybe Dream would deflect it. When you're as consistent as Dream is, you'll hold off some pretty tough build from Protoss about half the time.
Yeah.
And you'll maybe win the game from there. But maybe I was wrong. Maybe Dream will do better around here if they're both playing a more traditional game. But then I say traditional, and now I see a Dark Shrines going down here. So this is going to be, it's not going to be so much cheesy as it is very unconventional. And there's a small timing window that really can mess up the Terran. Builds like this, if Terran isn't really on top of his game, or sometimes even if they are, but they're just out of their position, they can take so much damage.
Well, yeah, it's like...
and now with a Warp Prism, yeah, he's definitely going to have to do a very strong timing attack.
Yeah, the basis of this build, this is something that does exist. People don't use it that often, but like you attack with your Stalkers, you utilize Blink to kind of keep Terran scared and keep him defending, and spending his money on things like making sure he has enough units and repairing, rather than sitting back and having time to think and put down a missile turret. So the Prism will be used to warp and DTs that main base, and if he doesn't have scans ready when those DTs hit, it's like a game win almost immediately to herO.
Yeah, the game can still go on, though. That's why we see 2 forges being made behind this. And in fact, a robotics facility.
Yeah.
This is a little bit different from what I've seen before.
Yeah,
all he needs to do
really
now is get a Stargate, and he'll have all the tech on 2 bases.
Doesn't he need that 3rd forge, though? Oh, Blink just barely hadn't finished. That's funny.
No, that's the big question, right?
Yeah.
Well, the real question is, does he get a fleet beacon after that Stargate finishes? So,
certainly.
what he wants to do here is really cripple the Terran early on. He has to split these DTs up, or you know what? Maybe he won't. Problem is, one scan, all these DTs die if he doesn't. But we've seen it where they actually spread them out pretty evenly.
He has no scans. This is like...
Okay, he's got it
very
just
close to
perfectly.
game winning. Oh my god, if he gets stim, that's the most insane thing ever. That's actually not the stim upgrade, the other one is.
Well, he can still possibly get stim, yeah.
Oh my god, that's just like, Dream can't kill him now. Even
if he saves
even if he
can't
lives.
counter, yeah.
If you don't have stim, bio units are not very good, believe it or not. Terran's like, well, we believe it.
Well, you know who doesn't believe it is herO. He's actually going to come up here and engage this small army. Against Blink, there's just not as much you can do. Now look at that. Look at how the DTs are being spaced out in between all possible scans. This is the way to do it.
Yeah. It's pretty crazy.
Here.
This was like so effective.
Can he get over there?
There's nowhere left to run.
Climb up on that little crag.
Yeah, these units are going to be torn apart. He's got to be really careful.
Did he just shoot his own medevac?
No, you hit the
Am
rocks.
I crazy? All right. I guess I am crazy. Now
A little
confirm
bit.
that. A little bit.
But in a way that we all love, too, so this is fine. Still a DT left alive.
Again, guys, the real story here is the no stim. As much as it was SCVs being killed and everything else, truly it was actually about the stim being denied here, because Terran can't really move out. There's just not much. You can't stim and run away. You can't leap forward and kill a Colossus like we saw here. And with Protoss having Blink, Warp Prisms, Colossi, everything else, there's really not a lot you can do on the map. After Stim is done, that's when Terran has the opportunity to try to gain map control. But now we see Stim just starting here at the 11-minute, 50-second marker.
Yeah, like, you don't kill people this late into the game with this much tech without Stim. So it's just like, herO looks at it right now, he's like, okay, I guess I can be greedy in like every way. I guess I'll take another base, I'll warp another DT for some harassment. You know, he can do anything. He's like probing up, because he just can't die until there's Stim. That's the first point in the game where it's like, okay, Dream might be able to get something done now.
Well, this one, Zealot, this game may be ending a little bit how it started with that probe killing that SCV, and now we've gotten to the next tier 1 unit, causing some more problems here. Now, Stim is not even halfway done, guys. So Protoss can just attack here. You wouldn't normally see an attack like this from Protoss onto the 3rd base, but under these circumstances, you can attack here, and this even adds to it, having a Warp Prism here, because without Stim, you can't run between the 2 bases. So this is going to be a tough one for Dream. Now, if he holds it, the game will go on. Maybe he'll be able to dig his way out of this hole.
You know, he's going to have 2-2 against... There's not even an armory up for Dream as well, and that's, like, really important to mention. Look, he's even attacking while 2-2 is being made because there's no stim, so he can't die. You know, it's just like, no matter what Dream tries to do, he's like, well, I mean, I have a few force fields and Blink Stalker, so I guess I'm fine.
This game was almost like a baton race, where one person ended up dropping a baton and had to go all the way back around. And right now, as well and as fast as herO or Dream is running, herO is just way ahead of him. He's lapping him. He's doing a great job because it's not that Dream's doing a bad job holding this. It's just that no matter what he's doing, he's still behind.
That makes that's actually a pretty reasonable analogy right there. I like that. That's better than what I was going to do with it. But
whoa, you all right?
Yeah, I'm fine.
All right,
fine. A little plastic keyboard can't hurt me.
Yeah, we saw a desk malfunction here, GSL, but we're okay. Now, fun fact for you guys watching, a lot of people don't know this, but Artosis actually observes the game with his feet.
That's right.
That's why we never cast with shoes on up here, so that was... that's what makes us the most impressive part, you know, of the entire show, really.
That's right. You think your keyboard's dirty. Oh, man. All right, well, he has stim now, so he's going to try to get something to happen here. Nice defense setup here by herO. Has good split army. We do have more supply for Dream. See if he can get something done.
Okay, now he's going to try to push through it, but it's a pretty narrow entrance.
Oh,
and a
boy.
Nice time warp. Double time warp, meaning a lot more extra damage is going to be hit here on the edge of this army. And in fact, it's going to be even tougher for the Colossi to kind of come over here and get this the infantry to come over here and get this Colossi.
Yeah, that was a
bit of an overextension there. I mean, you know, herO was fine, but just because you're ahead doesn't mean you can, you know, dive in and start to waste units like that. So the Vikings come up and try to kill this Colossus. The Colossus is going to go down, but is there now enough of a ground army here from herO to try to drive back the remaining army here of Dream? It looks like that's going to be the case.
Yeah, he does have enough there. That was a little bit optimistic for sure when he went down there. Threw down the 2 time warps. His second piece of his army at his third base wasn't actually in position for the timing of those 2 time warps. So, like, he kind of the little tiny ground army he had on the left died, and then the Vikings helped kill off the Colossus on the right. So he just had like these 2 weird split armies, and yeah, it was a bit optimistic by herO. But if we look at the situation, still it's 2-2 to 1-1. He's got his charge, he's got his blink. You know, he's making more Colossi here. We'll see what Dream can do though. He's making a lot of medevacs and focusing on that, and that's a really good way to play this out from here.
Yeah, medevacs are going to be key to him coming back here. But the repositioning here that herO's forced Dream into could be tough to deal with. There doesn't seem to be anything here at this third base, so the Zelts can come in here. There's going to be a lot more SCVs that are going to be hit hard. And in fact, that may be pretty much all the workers driven out.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to want to escape with as much as he can here as well. Leaves a few behind to make sure the rest of them can get out.
Going to send that 1 DT up there in the hopes maybe there's no scan. And there is, so that scan will finish. Or rather, the DT will be killed and the turret will finish.
And he does have Storm on the way, but we have Ghosts being made by Dream, so he's actually kind of got a little bit of a catch-all that might help out. He is making quite a few Vikings right now. And okay, yeah, he's going to go up to 3 Colossus, so I guess the Vikings are actually going to be very, very worthwhile. Trying to hide.
Now, here they come, the Zealots do, from the bottom. This is just buying some time here. The Zealots, really guys, you can lose Zealots all game against Terra and you're pretty much fine. As long as you're slowing them down. You could trade minerals for minerals in this case.
Yeah, it's alright here. And he kills a few units off there for sure. Does keep him back for a while herO tries to take his 4th base.
It is impressive to note that Dream does actually have a supply lead and less workers. So technically Dream's army, if controlled right, might be able to beat herO's.
Yeah, totally. He does have an army absolutely capable of winning this game. The Psy Storms are going to be really, really important. There's no cloak for the Ghost. If there was, he could probably just go win because there's only 1 observer on the map, but it's not the case, so we don't really need to talk about it. See how these EMPs do. Okay, still the High Templars. Ooh, some nice, nice snipes.
Really good storm there. But unfortunately, this Colossi just rallied right into that.
Ooh,
Looks like it will at least get 1 extra volley off. He may actually make a B-lane to the right. No, he's not. I thought he might beeline up into the second base, but that's going to allow the rest of Protoss to come down here and just do so much damage.
Yeah, he wants to straight kill herO's army. Doesn't look like that's going to quite happen here, though. He does keep one Colossi alive, has plenty of Blink Stalkers as well. And those Warped-in Zealots doing just fine.
Ideally, in this matchup, it's okay for Terran to trade evenly with Protoss if he's making the Protoss' unit composition get reset.
Yeah.
Since the Protoss' unit composition constantly has to be more complex than the Terran's unit composition. But you got to be careful because you can also end up overextending against a player who's just got really, really, really good control.
Yeah, and let's not forget as well, better upgrades for herO. So
that's true.
Even though he's killing off Colossus, with a 2-upgrade advantage for herO, he can still win a lot of these just bio versus Protoss units fights that normally you wouldn't be able to.
Wow, Dream almost feeding into herO right now. At the end of everything, it looks like it's 122 to 98 supplies. So, excuse me, also herO has a fourth base up here at the top left.
Yep.
Don't know if we touched upon that, but this is getting pretty bad now for Dream. Dream was in a bad spot in the early game, managed to come back and even this out, and is now...
GG.
Wow, just taps out. I was going to say is now in a bad spot in the end of the game. Yeah, it looks like Dream just says, "Screw it, let me go to the losers match. I'm already dead here. herO's probably going to get out of this group."
Yeah, herO looked really quite good overall, though. In that second game, definitely a little bit of overextensions going on and whatnot. But I think he was just like, "Well, I'm just so far. This is ridiculous." After killing Stim and killing 2 tech labs, a bunch of SCVs, forcing that many turrets, forcing that many scans, killing that many units. He was just so far ahead, and really 2-2 is what carried in this game. So, well done by herO, really looking like what he is, the best Protoss in the world.
Yeah, he is looking very solid. I do like that build he did there in Game 2. Going for those DTs.
It can be very good against CC first. That's the only build you really see it against.
It's actually better against people who just have perfect macro because they will always drop the mules.
Yeah.
That means they never have the scans. If he was against a player who was a little bit worse, it's possible that that game would have looked completely different.
Yeah, if you have scans and those DTs come in you just stomp them, the counterattack with Medivacs is so strong, it's ridiculous.
It's a lot of gas you lost, too, with 3 DTs. Anyways, we're going to take a short break. When we return, the second best of 3 for, what is this, Group C? Yeah, Group C now.
More like Vitamin C.
For today's GSL Code S.